Hi, my name is Amanda, and this is my first video here on YouTube, so please excuse how awkward I may or may not be. Mentally prepare yourself for the awkwardness coming your way. Well, I learned a phrase or a term, I guess, recently from this homeschool house whose videos I love, but and also some other homeschool mamas on here. So I'm really excited to use this term for the first time. So I am a second generation homeschooler, which means that I was homeschooled and now I'm homeschooling my babies. So I was homeschooled, like I mentioned, from first grade all the way through high school, and then I became a teacher. So I have a bachelor's in elementary education, grades kindergarten through sixth grade, and I have a master's in reading from grades kindergarten through 12th grade. And just a little background, homeschooling was always our goal, always what we wanted to do, but we had some other goals too that we wanted to make or reach before our 5-year-old started kindergarten. So we have a 5-year-old and a 10-month-old, and so that was always our goal. Okay, by kindergarten, we want to bring her home, we want to homeschool. So her first year, I stayed with her, then my mom stayed with her for 2 years. Then she went to pre-K when she was 3. I'm sorry, she went to like daycare when she was 3. I don't like saying pre-K for 3-year-old, really. She went to daycare when she was 3, and then she did VPK. The VPK, the daycare that she went to, it was like a little church daycare with a bunch of little abuelitas, which is exactly what we wanted. And I would always be like, just play with her, just love on her, just keep speaking Spanish to her, she's good. um, and so because I knew we were going to bring her home, and I never did like one page of homework, and to me at that age this should just be playing anyway. So there's that little bit of background. But thank you for joining me today. This video is a 2020-2021 kindergarten curriculum review coming at you. Okay, and just a little tip for you. This was a game changer for me. I just learned this within the last year. Total game changer. On YouTube, you can, and I'm just not very techy. Maybe everyone knows this, and you're rolling your eyes at me. I don't know, maybe. But you can speed people up or slow them down. So if you're like me and people just don't talk fast enough on YouTube, that like what you're used to. I'm used to fast talkers, and I want fast talkers because I want to just get all the information at once. And I'm like chasing kids all day, so so I want someone to talk real fast. So you can either speed people up, or maybe I talk a little too fast for you. Maybe you're not used to the fast talking and you can just slow me down. So there's a little tip, total game changer for me. Maybe it will be for you too. But go ahead and get comfy. This may or may not be a long video, and please join me. I'm going to start with what didn't work so well for us. Please, whatever I say I don't like in this video, just keep in mind that every family is different, every child's different, every parent-child dynamic is different. So please don't take anything that I say as a knock on a curriculum, on a company, or maybe on your choices. So whatever you choose to do with your child is right for your child. So please don't take what I say and say like, well, can't use that, or oh, she doesn't like what I used, or And actually, a really interesting fun fact that you may not know so I was looking up statistics. I like to have facts to back myself up when people maybe say something that I don't like about homeschooling. And something that I learned that was super empowering to me is that homeschooled children of parents that have a degree in education, right? So teachers' kids that are homeschooled that then decide to homeschool, and kids that their parents don't have any degree or maybe not a teaching degree and that decide to homeschool their children, those kids do the same. So to me, that was super empowering. So sometimes, oh, but you were a teacher. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. The kids do the same. The kids do the same. Look it up, Google it, and be empowered by that. By the game changer is you, mama. You at home, you and your family, you choosing what's best for you in your family, in your house. So don't ever watch a YouTube video or hear someone talk and think that they know better than you, no matter what you think that they know or don't know, because being a classroom teacher, I've done both, and being a classroom teacher, I can tell you, has nothing to do. It's so different from homeschooling. And, and in fact, homeschooling shouldn't look like the school, right? Because if we wanted our kids to be in school, they'd be in school. And so your home should not try to emulate a classroom and school, because if then that's what they'd be if that's what you wanted. So the point of bringing them home was for them not to be in school. So you know what's best for your child. You know what's best for your home, and what works for my kid is not going to work for your kid necessarily, and what works for me might not work for you. So just keep that in mind as I go through all of these things, okay, that worked for us or didn't work for us. So the first thing that did not work for us was, for language arts, we started with the good and the beautiful. And it is good and it is beautiful, and I really wanted to love it. But the truth is that it just moved way too fast for my daughter. She's on the younger end of whatever grade she's going into. So her birthday's in late August. So her, oh, ooh, that's better. Sorry, I forgot. I have a light right there and I forgot to turn it on. See, awkward. So he is on the younger end of the year, and so it was just went way too fast for her. There's really no phonics to me. To me, that's not phonics. It's a lot of sight words. I didn't want that for her. I live in Florida, and there is a convention every year that I used to go with my mom to as a kid. But last year, first it was changed to my due date. For my second daughter, I have a 10-month-old. So first it was changed to my due date. Then it was canceled altogether. And the curriculum we ended up switching to is actually was at the convention, or would have been rather at the convention last year. So maybe I would have gone with it from the beginning. I don't know. But we started with the good and the beautiful. We got to maybe lesson, I don't know, 15, maybe 15. And so it just didn't work for us. It was not enough phonics. I wanted her to know the rules of things. I wanted her to know the whys. I really wanted her to have like a solid foundation in phonics and know why certain letters get together and make certain sounds. So for me, it was just the good and the beautiful was not that, even though it is a lovely program. And I think it's solid. And I will say this, I'm assuming that if you're watching this, you either are going to have a kindergartner, or you have a kindergartner, or maybe you've homeschooled kids, but you've never homeschooled for a kindergarten. Maybe you have, maybe you already know what you want, I don't know. But don't buy all the things like this girl did. Don't buy all the things. Get to know your child. Go slow. See what your kid likes. I bought so many things, and at the end I should have just gone way slower. I think we made way better choices for this upcoming school year. But just keep that in mind. Just keep in mind that not everything's right for your kid. If you need to switch, I was like, I am not going to switch it up in the middle of the year. Guess what? If you need to switch it up, that's the reason you're homeschooling. So you can switch it up. So you can meet your child's needs. So you can meet them where they are at. So just keep that in mind. As you're choosing things for next year. And so, like I said, it is a wonderful program, and I would like to try to see if I could just sprinkle it in somewhere throughout first grade. Maybe I can still use it, because I did like, some of the components, but I just, like I said, I didn't like the sight words. It went way too fast. I felt like it didn't teach them how to read. It was just like, oh, here you go, read. I don't know. It didn't work for me, but I know a lot of kids who have been super successful with it. So please don't let me knock it for you. And another thing is, I wouldn't discourage anyone from using the good and the beautiful if you're a first-time homeschooler, if you are new to homeschooling. If you're already a seasoned homeschool mama, then you know what you like. And maybe, you're looking into a new curriculum, but you still know what direction you want to go in. Whereas if you're a brand new homeschooler, there's a learning curve. So even for me, even though I was homeschooled, there was such a huge learning curve for me as I came home, as I got to know how my daughter learned. So even though we did fun pre-K things, and we did learn letters, and we did fun things, it was totally different once it was something a little more formal. So I would just suggest not completely ruling out the good and the beautiful. Sometimes maybe with other curriculums, you don't know if they're going to learn what they need to learn. With the good and beautiful, they're going to learn what they needed to learn, and then some. So just keep in mind that it is solid, and it's all right there. It's going to make you feel safe. It's going to make you feel comfortable. So I wouldn't want to discourage anyone from actually using the good and the beautiful. Okay. So after we decided that the good and the beautiful was not for us, we took a little break. We did some Explode the Code book 1, which I'm going to touch back on in a few minutes. And then as I was researching, I ended up going with one of the curriculums that I originally was looking into, which I was looking into all about reading or logic of English. And I ended up going with the logic of English. And I cannot say enough good things about this curriculum. It is truly, I love it. We love it. My daughter loves it. It's amazing. It teaches the whys, the hows. I am learning alongside her. I'm learning all these rules that I didn't know. And so there's a lot of games. My daughter is super active. My daughter is a super beyond active child. She needs to run, she needs to jump, she needs to be active the whole time. That's her. She's very, very, very active. And so this has a million games. She loves the games. If you are interested in a review just of this curriculum, please let me know. Drop a little comment on there, and I would love to do it, because I don't know if you're interested, but it's such a wonderful program. So we ended up going with cursive, because she already knew some of her letters in print and manuscript, and then when we switched over, they have a million videos on their website, on YouTube. They're like teacher professional developments. Some of her parents, I spent like 8 hours watching these videos and learning from them, and they go through the science of how our brains learn to read, because reading is not like walking, it's not like talking, it's not something that comes naturally that you just have to watch someone do it and now you know how to do it. It's not like that. So even though some kids get it quicker, my daughter's not one of those kids, and so I feel like this is amazing. So we really love that. We ended up, like I said, going with cursive. I wrote out like a nice fancy word for her, because I know I wanted us to go with cursive, but I kind of wanted to get her input too. I wanted her to have some say, and so I showed her and I said, which one do you want to learn? And she pointed to cursive. So I was like, yes, cursive. So, and it's going great. We really are loving it. Speaking of handwriting, I will just touch back and say that if you're doing manuscript, The Good and the Beautiful handwriting is beautiful. It's really good. So if we had continued with manuscript, we would have done The Good and the Beautiful handwriting, because they have great handwriting. They really do. It's really cute. So there's that. And then I'm going to fast forward now a little bit, or rewind, or whatever, to I mentioned we did a little bit of the Explode the Code. And that's another thing that I don't want to, that didn't really work for my daughter. I loved the Explode the Code. Book 1 is all CBC words, so it's just 3-letter words, and she was doing it independently, but she did not like it, and I didn't know, and that's why I mentioned, getting to know your kids. I didn't feel like black and white was going to be a problem for her, and so when we did it in between The Good and the Beautiful and The Logic of English, she was fine. She didn't really complain. But then we did level A, and then we switched, and then we finished level A, and then we did level B. And in between that transition of level A and level B, I got a lot of pushback. And I would tell her, Mommy, why don't you like it? And she would say, oh, it's black and white. I don't really like it. And I just didn't think that would be like a thing for her. Baby's awake. And I'm back. And I have kids right in front of me, so let's see how quiet they can be. Okay. Okay, so so now I'm going to share with you something that kind of worked and kind of didn't, and that is Wordly Wise, which I did as a kid. I remember doing it, and it was pretty good. As a kid, I remember learning, with it and everything, but I would not suggest this for a kindergartner or a first grader, to be honest. And I have 2 reasons why. So one is because it's just extra. It's just unnecessary. If you do a lot of reading, or if you just have a lot of conversations, you don't really need it. And then aside from that, the vocabulary in here is not something that is mind-blowing. So let me read to you some of the words. So some of the words are like tool, office, rub, stretch, fit. These are all my daughter already knew. So they do have some cute, so they have like little cards, so for rub. And so it is a cute program. I actually asked my daughter like a week ago. I was like, hey, we kind of just stopped. We didn't finish it. We just kind of stopped like halfway. And I'm like, hey, we kind of just stopped doing this. Did you like this? She was, yeah, I love it. So it is a really cute program. They do a lot of like cut and paste, a lot of coloring. It's really cute because it'll say like color, here we go. So it says, have the children find and color pictures related to office, patient, proud, tools. And then they have to explain it. So it's a really good conversation starter in using those words. One thing that I thought of, in preparation for this video is if you are maybe a bilingual, so I'm bilingual, and so I tried to speak Spanish to my kids when they were little, and I still try to do it, but it is hard. So if you did a better job than me, and maybe your child only speaks your first language, and maybe now you're transitioning into some English, or maybe your English is not your first language, and so you're not as strong in English, I would suggest this. Or if maybe you have foster children, even like if you're a foster parent or adoptive parent from a child that maybe English is not their first language, I would definitely suggest it, because these are good words to use in everyday language. Like maybe a native English speaker wouldn't need these words. Yeah, Exactly. But maybe your child would if English was not their first language. So definitely consider it if that's your scenario. But otherwise, I wouldn't. There were two math curriculums that was in between last year when we thought we were going to the convention, which was Math UC and Right Start. So those were the two. Like I mentioned earlier, my daughter's super active, so I knew we needed something with manipulative, something that was gonna be like super engaging. She's not a workbook kind of kid, which I kind of knew already, but with the Explode the Code experience, it like reinforced like times 100 that she is not a workbook, like a plain workbook kind of kid. So we ended up going with the Good and the Beautiful, level K math, and I am glad we went through the math. I know that they're changing up the math, so I will not spend too much time talking about it. I know they're releasing simply Good and Beautiful math, but we did use, we have all the manipulatives. We loved it. It worked well. I know they're coming out with a new one, and I'm sure it's going to be even better, but we enjoyed this one a lot. We really didn't have a problem. She loves being read to, so we did read the stories. She loved them. She loved the storylines of it. A lot of manipulative using, a lot of cut and paste. It worked really well for us. I really can't complain. I feel like it laid a good foundation for whatever we're going to use this year. And so I just didn't want to make such a huge investment in something that I wasn't sure. And I'm kind of glad I did that, because I think this year I was able to go to the convention and I was able to see those two programs, and I think I would have gone with another one had I not been able to see it in person. So I'm really glad that we held out and we just went ahead with this one. But it was cute. I did like it, but like I said, I won't go too much into detail about what we did or didn't like, because they're changing it anyway. So, and like I said, I wouldn't discourage anyone from using them, because it's simple, because it's there, it's all in one place. It's, you don't have to worry about them getting a solid foundation. We are heading in the direction of Charlotte Mason's style of learning, which I kind of knew I already liked her, but we just hadn't dipped our feet in, so I really didn't know how to execute that in our homeschool, what that was going to look like for us in our homeschool. So we already did, all the living books and all that stuff, but we're just heading more and more in that direction. So toward the end of the year, we started doing some poetry tea times, things like that, and something that a really good friend of mine suggested, and she purchased it, and I think we went ahead and got it in like January or February. Excuse the cute baby in the background. Was Exploring Nature with Children, and I cannot, just like the Logic of English, I cannot recommend this enough. It is awesome. It's super simple. It's not like workbook heavy. It's not a workbook. So we did Exploring Nature with Children, and then we did also get the guided journal. So I bind them. So I bind them at home. I bought like a little binder here at home. So I bind them per season, because if not, it's just too thick, and it also doesn't fit my little coils here. Okay, so I have to finish filming this a different day, because got a sick little one, and you know how it goes. So the last thing I'm showing you that worked for us is Exploring Nature with Children. I mentioned before, we are going the Charlotte Mason route, and we're loving it. And what I love about this is it's not worksheets. It's not that at all. It is this one here is information for the parent. So for example, I went to July, week 2, it's weather, and it's basically just information for you, questions for you to ask your child. So for example, this is weather, and it's about clouds, so it just tells you about clouds, how are clouds formed, cloud types. And then you can go based on that. There are Pinterest boards and Instagram mamas that go above and beyond, but you can do as simple or as as cutesy as you want. You can go as crazy as you'd like. Sorry, baby has mamitis here, which means she wants me all the time because she's not feeling too well. And then it gives you ideas of what to do during your nature walk. So for example, it tells you to jot down the time of day. What's the temperature? How was the wind? So it's a really nice, basic, again, you can get as crazy as you want to get. It has a book list. So most of them we find at the library. Some of them we can even find like on YouTube if I don't feel like reading it out loud. It has a poem, and it has a piece of artwork that you can just Google. And then it has also extension activities. So these are, again, extra things. So usually I do the simple, I look through it the week before. I underline, highlight what I'm interested in really focusing on in our nature walk. And then I'll pick like 1 or 2 extension activities that I want to do. So for example, for this clouds weather week, some of the examples are research the water cycle, keep a record of the weather, make your own cloud identification guide. So it's just really simple stuff. And again, you can find on Pinterest or on Instagram, you can find more things. And it does go year round. And then I love this little calendar. She has a free little calendar you can download, and it tells you what you're doing each week. So we are loving this. We're going to continue doing this through the summer, and we really love it. And then what I do is I look through the guided journal and I just pick out the sheets. I just pick out the sheets that I think we are gonna do or I think will be beneficial. Some of it is writing, and my daughter is not writing yet. Sometimes we do it during our nature walk. Sometimes we'll just sit after our nature walk, like another day during the week, we'll sit in the yard. So while we're out there having like a little picnic style snack time or something, she can be sketching what we saw either during our nature walk or maybe in that moment. You know, she can. So that part is sketching clouds. So she can sketch the clouds that are in the sky in that moment. I try to make it really simple. I try to make it cutesy when I can and simplify it when I need to. So I really love that. Sometimes we'll do like Play-Doh activities or things like that. But I try really hard not to make it overly complicated. It's really just about enjoying nature. So if I'm going crazy and I'm buying all these things, I'm taking away from nature. So I do get books from the library. We try to, you know, get out to like a park once a week for a nature study. We do a park group with other homeschool families, but that's just like free play. They play at the park, but then I try to go to like a nature park. We haven't been doing it, I want to say the last month. It's just been a little crazy. We've been fighting off colds and stuff like that, and it's been kind of rainy the last week or so, so we haven't really been we're in Florida, and like when the rains come, they come. So, and they've been sick, so we can't even go and play out in the rain either. So that we've been loving, and it did replace something that I bought at the beginning of the year when I still was not sure what direction we were heading in, I guess. I went ahead and I bought Master Books Science, and it was again the printable one. I did the PDF so that I could just print it and bind it myself, and it was cute, but this is more worksheets. It is really cute, but I feel like it kind of went over her head with some things. So for example, I'm going to show you here, like this talked about like the cells and plant cells on the inside of a plant and animal cell, and it was just too much for me. So what I am gonna try to do next year, and so we did do some of it. See, we did like plants, parts of a plant. And so what I'm gonna try to do this upcoming year is maybe match some of these pages with exploring nature with children. So with our nature study, I might try to incorporate some of these pages, just not have it go to waste. It is like the primary age group, so it's like, look at that mess, pulling out all the books. So it is, I think, kindergarten to second grade, so maybe we'll use some next year and some the year after, but it's there. And it didn't really work out. So if your kid likes workbooks, maybe this is the thing for you, but mine doesn't really like workbooks. And you know what? I feel like I'm learning, neither do I. I thought I did, but maybe I don't. So well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know below. Do you have a kindergartner? Are you planning on using some of the things I used that I liked? Maybe things I didn't like. What did you like about them? What are you looking for? If you have any questions, you can jot them down below, and I would love to respond and answer. I watch so many YouTube videos, and I genuinely think that it's helped me so much on my journey. Seeing what other mamas have gone through, what their kids are like, just their opinions, getting flip throughs, getting ideas. And so I really wanted to kind of join that conversation and help other moms that also maybe have the same questions I did, share some of the things that I maybe didn't see. So something like exploring nature with children, I don't feel is something that gets the attention that it deserves. It's such a wonderful, simple Charlotte Mason style science based, and I feel like it doesn't get the attention it deserves. So I really kind of want to help to add to the conversation, add what I found, add what I think. A lot of us have active kids. I want to be able to help other mamas maybe of really active kids. So if you have any questions, if you have anything you want to add, I would love to see it down below, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.